Hello, my name is Tanisha Garner, and this is my part two of a walkthrough of my project and my documentation slides. This is the part two of that. So, this is the actual final product of my project. This is the desktop version. So, firstly, I will go over the navigation and the header. So, here is my logo slash home button. We have our menu, our order now, our story, our gallery, and our contact. Below that, I do have my carousel here. So, you'll see that there's different images here as well for the carousel, and then our view menu button. If we go below that, we'll see a brief about introduction to the about page or our story page, with the photo of the owners of the golden monkey. And then we have another section called our favorites. So in here before I did have a couple stretched images that I went ahead and changed. Um, and then you can go ahead and click them. You'll see that they change here, and then the images are not warped anymore. Due to time constraints, I would have tried to look for different images, but that was a challenges I had. One of the challenges I had with imagery. But overall, those photos are not warped, and they look pretty solid for the most part. I tried to make sure that the bigger one was in the middle, kind of giving some sort of like aesthetic to it or structure to it. So if we go down below that, you can also go straight to our full menu from there, from the Our Favorites tab. The next section I have is what our guests say. So this holds our Google API, our Get Directions button that leads us to the directions for Google Maps, and our reviews. So this right here, on page load, you'll see that, let's see if I can refresh. You'll see that they do change. And I did go ahead and add some more reviews in there so that way there's more rotation there as well. Um, if we go down to from our home to yours, this is our tradition section. So we have, again, same idea with the imagery up in our favorites. There were some warped images happening here. So I went ahead and made sure that they stay the original width and height. Um, Again, same thing. If there were a little bit more time, I would go ahead and make sure I find different images for those as well. But overall, I am happy with the imagery making not being warped and um, generally styled in a way that still looks decent. So if you go to like community, you'll see that here as well. Um, and then below that would be our stay connected and our social media icons here for people to go follow them for updates and more. And then lastly, on our homepage, we do have our footer, which is something you will see throughout the entire project. The same exact footer is consistent across all pages. So some of the changes that I did make to my footer was making sure that they highlight here. I did add some icons as well in our contact information as well. So if I go to our menu page, the menu page and the order now page, I did link them to the same page. But if you click menu, it does go straight to the menu versus the order now. It goes to the very beginning of the page. In the future, if I ever do use this for an actual business venture, I would love to implement more functionality as far as people being able to order directly from the website. That would be really cool to make. But for right now, I do have my Uber, DoorDash, and Grubhub options for people to order with on. Now, as far as the menu, I made sure that the menu is sticky so that way when people scroll, they can go ahead and just select, you know, different tabs and be able to see those particular dishes or sides or drinks or whatever. So that's the menu page. Finding these images weren't too hard. These are all images that were taken via the restaurant website and placed on DoorDash. So I was able to find a lot of these images here. Now, if we go to our story section, um, this would be our story. I did put a lot of like history and like where the inspiration of their food is from, and overall like how they interact with the community and how proud they are to be a restaurant within the Lynn community. As far as some of the feedback goes, the videos, I did also notice that like just having the Instagram embedded videos in there might bring people away from the website. So I did go ahead and download these videos directly from Instagram off their web pages in order to just have them play directly on the website. So I have these videos here. I did implement an autoplay and a muted function here um, within my HTML. So that way, you know, people can manually go and press play or mute or whatever they'd like to watch here. And then below that, again, we have our consistent footer as well. Now, if we go to our gallery page, I did make sure the font was just a tad bit bigger here. And then I did put in all of the images. These are all directly from Instagram and their web page. Not their web page, their Instagram page. Um, these are all from there, except for this image and this image. These are from the Getty images. I would have to double check my works cited, but you know, these images are there. Um, but yeah, so this is my gallery page. And then finally, we have our contact page. Again, same thing here with the gallery. I made sure that the contact us, each one was a little bit bigger for readability. And I went ahead and flexed these two items here, the form and then the image, to give it like a nice touch. The one thing I would do if I had more time, I would kind of give this a little bit more styling here. I know that's something that I should do. And again, lastly, this would be our footer. So that's our desktop version of the website. Overall, pretty solid. But if we go to our mobile version of the website, the difference with this is that I did implement a hamburger menu. So when people press it, they would be able to choose where they want to go on the website. They can go ahead and scroll the carousel with their finger and click the view menu button. Everything is pretty much the same, but I did make sure that was more vertically stacked to make more sense for mobile. So if they click the appetizers, main courses, or the boba teas, all of those cards are stacked vertically. Also, they would be able to press full menu. I did change the font weight on these buttons as well because on mobile it did look a little bit light. So I went ahead and just made those more bolded because for visibility purposes. Same thing with like what our guests say with the reviews. I just vertically stacked everything and made sure this was boldened. Um, and for our tradition section, I um, went ahead and made sure that we can toggle between those there as well. I did add a little padding here, and I didn't mention this on the desktop version, but also on the mobile, I added a little padding here from the original version, from the previous version, because I feel like it was a little too close. So I added some padding, and then I vertically stacked our footer menu as well. So that's the home page here. If you go to our menu page, we'll see the order with us now and our menu. The difference with the mobile versus the desktop version is that the mobile actually is fixed to the top here. So it's static actually. It's static to the top here. So that way when I scroll, it does not follow me. I did again, if I had a little bit more time, I would try to implement like a one of those scroll up buttons. So if oh, that's not what I wanted to do. If I scroll up, like if I press the button here and then it would scroll to the top and people would be able to go back to the navigation menu. So that's something in the future that I want to implement as well. But overall, this is kind of what I have for my final project. Um, so people could scroll and then go back to the top and select a different menu or tab. So that's the difference between the desktop and the mobile version on the menu page. Other than that, everything else is pretty consistent here. So we'll go to our story next. Again, for readability purposes, I went ahead and made sure that some of the text was a little bit more bold and bigger for the mobile. So everything here is pretty much the same, except it is vertically stacked. So I went ahead and stacked it. People can read all about the community, the cuisine, the roots. And then same thing here. I stacked these videos for mobile as well. So people can kind of, just like Instagram, people can like go in here and like press play and like stop it and like, go on to the next video and see the different content that's made for the business here, along with like local just Lynn reviews as well, which I thought was important to include for the project. Um, and then on to the next page would be our gallery page. I believe for the desktop, I flexed it to be 4 rows. I think I'd have to double check again. But for the mobile version, I went ahead and flexed it so that way there's only um, 2 columns, and so that way it's just so people don't have to scroll way too long to see all the images. People could zoom in if they wanted, but um, generally you have all of them stacked here, so the flex is a little bit different here. And then lastly, we have our contact page as well. I think for gallery and for contact, I make sure to change like the font sizing of the header, the H1s, um, as well. I didn't mention that, but you know. And then lastly, for contact page, I before on the desktop version they were sitting side by side, and for mobile that doesn't work. So I went ahead and vertically stacked these as well. So firstly, we'll have our contact form. You could type your name, you know, and do your message. You'll be able to submit. Oh, I had to fill in my phone number, but and then below that will be our photo of the golden monkey sign outside the business, thank you message, and our consistent navigation at the bottom for the menu. So overall, this is my project. This is, firstly the desktop version, and now we have our mobile version. Again, if if I had a little bit more time, I would implement a lot more things here. But overall, I am very happy with what I've created so far. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.